The issues are numerous and they're growing.
Arrests are going up. I mean, the number of people that we interact with who have addiction and mental health problems.
Law enforcement, local jails, and states and federal prisons are facing new challenges every day.
They had, lock them up, throw away the key. We found that just didn't work.
From funding.
You pay now or you pay later, but $17 million, you can pay a lot of bed space elsewhere for $17 million.
To the growing drug epidemic.
When they have a slip, we're right there.
Officials are looking at new ways to address the issues.
Today's prisoner is tomorrow's neighbor.
And fund solutions.
I think the one thing that has really touched me is that I received thank you cards.
Welcome to another edition of WHAG's InFocus. I'm Brittany Marshall. Over the next half hour, we dive into the issues of our prison systems throughout the four-state region, from high transport costs in West Virginia to 3 years of overcrowding in the Franklin County Jail in Pennsylvania. But beyond those issues, we give you a glimpse into the lives of those who are taking the lessons they learned behind bars to become better citizens, and what organizations and local community groups are doing to help them and countless others. We'll start in Virginia, where a lot has changed recently. Last year, Governor Terry McAuliffe began restoring rights to former inmates. WHAG Shannon Ryan spoke to one of those men whose story is all too common, of how his battle with addiction eventually landed him behind bars. But now he's using the experience to better the community and help others gain back their rights.
One more time for the people in the bleachers.
Trust.
Trust. Trust.
Yeah.
Trust is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with trust with ourselves.
Reuniting with the family. Yeah, reuniting with society. It's hard to get a job with that F on the report card.
Trust within our country. We're dealing with trust that things will get better. At Morgantown.
Meeting Kelvin Manners today, it's hard to believe that almost a decade ago, he had nearly given up all hope that things would get better.
As I was standing there, I began contemplating, figure out ways I could fall and break my neck on my bunk.
The Desert Storm veteran turned to alcohol and crack cocaine for 17 years to cope with war.
While at the same time, my wife was pregnant, living at our house in Reston. I was living in the alley in D.C.
Manners began to deal until he was caught and thought about ending it all. But something stopped him.
And I wrote a letter to my daughter. And as I went to mail this letter and put it into the mailbox, on top of the mailbox was a Bible. And I got the Bible. I began reading the Word, the Bible, and getting into it and things of this nature. And as I began to get into this, I began to have hope again.
Manners served 5 years in federal prison. Behind bars, he shared the hope he had found, with others founding the Arm in Arm Foundation to help incarcerated drug dealers like himself. Once he got out, he expanded the program to offer peer-to-peer support to re-entering citizens and veterans. Hope, many say, is much needed.
Yeah,
He gave them a job when they came out.
They lack motivation, they lack hope, because they feel like, this guy is always going to be after me. I'm not going to be able to do this. Nobody's going to hire me.
But it's not all bad. Some recent legislative changes have made things a lot better. And Manners is on the front lines. In 2015, Virginia adopted the Ban the Box movement, which bans employers from asking about criminal history during the initial hiring phase.
Hate the crime, not the criminal. And today's prisoner is tomorrow's neighbor.
Anyone convicted of a felony automatically loses their civil rights in this state. But since 2016, Governor McAuliffe has been restoring rights to individuals who meet standards set forth by the state.
Terry McAuliffe, Governor of the state of Virginia.
However, not everyone is aware they're eligible, and Manners is out to change that through his outreach efforts.
And then go and vote. We can change the outcome of any election.
And of course, leading by example.
Well, I'm looking for this sticker to inspire other returning citizens, as well as those who are not, inspire them to go out and make their voice count.
Reporting in Northern Virginia, Shannon Ryan, Nova News.
The average cost of incarcerating someone in the Northern Virginia area is $180 a day. Now, the average cost of rehabilitation programs, such as OAR, is $4,500 a year per person. Now, if you would like to become involved with a program like Arm in Arm or OAR, you can visit our website at your4state.com for more information. And in the meantime, in Maryland, Washington County is taking steps forward to help those in the system by creating the first adult day reporting center in the state. At the beginning of this month, native Justin Stipes became the first graduate of that program. WHAG Sarah Gizriel looks back on how a man in his 30s and a concept over 5 years in the making are both using their success to help the community.
10 years ago, Dustin Stipes fell off scaffolding at work and was prescribed painkillers. And then, just like so many others in Washington County, he became addicted and moved on to heroin, the cheaper, faster high than prescription drugs.
Constantly spending every morning, every evening looking for the drug, trying to find it to just feel better, not feel sick.
While Stipes was battling addiction, Sheriff Doug Mullendore and Rebecca Hogemeyer were fighting to get the day reporting center off the ground. Their grant application was approved last July, and from there, it was a race against time.
And we took our first participant in November 28th. So everything that you see here was not here. There were no walls, there were no desks.
The facility was finished just in time for Stipes, who was facing conspiracy to distribute OxyContin charges after the Washington County Narcotics Task Force raided the home he shared with his girlfriend.
The dog started going nuts, and I went out to check to see who was there, and I was like, oh man.
And so his journey began with the Day Reporting Center. For 6 days of the week, participants must report to the center and submit to drug tests every 3 days.
When they have a hiccup, when they have a slip, we're right there. So it doesn't go, their relapse doesn't go into weeks and months.
Security here is tight because it has to be. They use this facial recognition software to log in and out daily for accountability. If they fail to do this, a day is added to their treatment.
Unlike intermediate sanction programs, the Day Reporting Center doesn't want to intervene until a participant messes up. They slowly expose them to more privileges in a series of 4 phases.
We are not opening the gate quite yet. We've left them out of the barn, and now they're in the barnyard, and then we'll eventually open and shut the gate.
Now that Stipes has completed the program, he's getting ready to take on another milestone, fatherhood. He hasn't been allowed to have contact with his incarcerated pregnant girlfriend since November, but because of his success and some encouragement from Hogemeyer, he'll be in the delivery room.
I mean, if you're willing to change your life and your lifestyle, then the program, you can make the program work, but you got to be willing to change.
Although the program is technically part of their punishment, most participants think of it as their first stable home.
Call in here when they don't have to. They hang out here when they don't have to. But I think the one thing that has really touched me is that I received thank you cards.
Reporting for InFocus, Sarah Gizriel, WHAG News.
Now, Stipes will be the sole caretaker of his daughter until his girlfriend is released from jail. Now, he is just one of many former inmates that will encounter local activist Bill Gartner as he teaches classes at the Day Reporting Center. But Bill is more than just a teacher, as he uses his experiences of being behind bars to provide guidance to former inmates throughout the area. Now, I sat down with Bill to hear about his life experiences and his goal to influence as many men and women as possible through gatekeepers.
People are not aware of what a returning citizen is or what an inmate is, or they're not aware of prisons. It's a billion-dollar industry in our state, and we've got it. And now with the opioid crisis and the more and more people getting locked up, people have to really grab a hold of it, and I think they are. We wanted to make people aware, and we're not all coming out without tools. There are a lot of tools that are given to us in prison, and if we take advantage of it, we can bring that to the streets.
And so tell me a little bit more about gatekeepers. You just mentioned it. Tell us a little bit more about what that program does. For more on our interview, visit our website at your4state.com. Just click on the InFocus section. Coming up after the break, we go into the Franklin County Jail and hear what local groups and jail officials are doing to lower its jail population that has been over capacity for more than 3 years. In Franklin County, it's been a balancing act as officials work to lower the amount of inmates in jail. It's been an issue for about 3 years now with no real solution in sight. I sat down with county officials, the warden, and an inmate who experienced it firsthand as we explore the issue of how the county is creating some solutions. Detroit native Travis Lippy is pushing through to a better life as part of the Franklin County Day Reporting Center.
I want to be able to maintain a job and take care of my family better and get my mental mind state back in order. So that's my biggest thing, and they're helping me with that here.
But he still remembers not long ago being one of many inmates overcrowded in the Franklin County Jail.
So the overcrowding, you don't have everybody on the same level. And when that happens, there's a lot of people that lash out because of that, so just a lot of irritants, and that's where you get most of your problems at.
Lippy is now at the New Hope shelter in Waynesboro, but for others in the system, it's a day-to-day issue for the past 3 years, with the jail being about 15 inmates over capacity.
We're at a position now where we can hold temporarily overnight or maybe 2 or 3 nights individuals while we look for bed space for others to go to make room for them.
The warden says their budget has increased nearly $3 million since 2012.
We'll be over budget this year in a couple of areas, overtime and supplies for inmates, because obviously the more inmates you get, the more supplies you need, the more medical care you need, the more food you need. So all those things are over what our projected amounts were a year ago.
Solutions are being made, transporting 31 inmates to other counties and not taking in inmates from Fulton County. Their last option could be expanding the jail.
It's probably in the neighborhood of $17 million to add on those 4 units. So it's kind of, you pay now or you pay later, but $17 million, you can pay a lot of bed space elsewhere for $17 million.
So they're working on other options outside of the jail.
The other things that we are doing to try to reduce the jail population is trying to divert individuals away from the system generally.
The options, drug courts, mental health co-responder, and re-entry programs like the Day Reporting Center have been growing across the county. They are available not just to lower the jail population, but to help ex-offenders better their lives.
It might not be a magic wand that we can instantly change someone's life, but over time they have to believe and see that, yes, my behavior does make a difference. I can make my life better.
Travis says that he's finally come to that realization and is hoping to be able to create a stable life and never go back to jail.
I lost a lot of my what I stand for, and this program is helping me rebuild those morals and characteristics about myself that I cherish so much.
And he hopes others can do the same. Travis Lippy says he has about 5 months left in the program and looks forward to being a better man and father to his children. Coming up after the break, we take a look into programs and initiatives in Washington County that are helping to change public perception of those incarcerated.